Hey everyone, this is my review for WWE Over The Limit 2012. The event came from the PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, I'm not sure if I've pronounced that right or not. I'm not actually sure on the pronunciation of it. The event opened, of course, with a pre-show on YouTube. It featured a match between Zack Ryder and Kane. Although I understand, that Ryder and Kane, they've had this rivalry with, Kane throwing Ryder off the stage and all that. And I just feel it's a bit of a random match. I mean, especially considering, last week on SmackDown, Kane, he was in a match against the WWE Champion CM Punk and he attacked him with a steel chair and looked really strong, and now all of a sudden he's in the pre-show with Ryder. I just thought it seemed a bit random. The match itself, it was fairly predictable, Kane won with the choke slam. I just didn't really understand the match, to be honest. Next, we had a surprise battle royal, which Eve Torres announced, where the winner would face either the Intercontinental Champion Cody Rhodes or the United States Champion Santino Marella later on in the night. There's two people I was happy about seeing in the battle royal itself. Drew McIntyre and William Regal. I was really happy to see them two. I haven't seen them two wrestling in a while on WWE television. Obviously, I wanted either one of them two to win, even though I knew that they wouldn't. It was fairly obvious. As the superstars kept coming in the ring, I was thinking, it's going to be David Otunga that's going to win this. Until, of course, there was a surprise entry. The last entry was Christian, and I thought, oh, it's going to be Christian that's going to win it then. And sure enough, Christian won it. He eliminated The Miz. They were the last two. And after he won the match, he looked at Santino Marella. He gestured at him as if to say, I'm going for the United States Championship. Of course, later in the night, we'd find out that it wouldn't be the US title he'd go for at all. So after the Battle Royal match, we had the tag team titles. Kofi Kingston and R-Truth defending the titles against the All-American American Jack Swagger and the show-off Dolph Ziggler. To be fair, considering that the WWE at the moment has a poor tag team division, I don't think this was too bad of a match. I actually thought it was a pretty decent match. Kingston and R-Truth, they retain the tag team titles. Kofi hit the Trouble in Paradise on Dolph Ziggler out of absolutely nowhere. It's a fairly decent match. They retain the tag team titles. After the tag team title match, we had the Divas Championship. Layla defending against the Glamazon Beth Phoenix. It's fairly predictable, I think. You had Beth working on the injured knee of Layla as the heel, You had chance of We Want Karma all through the match. The match, considering it was a Divas match, okayish amount of time, I suppose. Layla retained after Beth tried to do the Glam Slam and she reversed it into a pinfall. Very much like Kelly, in fact. Layla retains the Divas Championship. After the Divas title, we had the Fatal 4-Way match for the World Heavyweight Championship. It was Sheamus defending against Chris Jericho, Alberto Del Rio, and Randy Orton. I thought this was actually a pretty good match. It's actually my second favourite match of the night. This was. I think all four men looked quite strong in the match. There was a number of times when I thought, Jericho might win this one, but ultimately, as I thought would happen, Sheamus did retain the title. He pinned Chris Jericho for the 1-2-3. And after the world title match, of course, we had another squash match. Brodus Clay, the Funkasaurus, up against the Miz. Seems to be the latest WWE job. It's amazing how far Miz has fallen down, really. Brodus, he hit the T-bone suplex and the big splash. Although I'm not the Miz's biggest fan, I am actually now starting to feel quite sorry for him. I think it's really bad the way WWE are treating him ever since this Survivor Series buy rate thing, and they blame the Miz for it, and now he's just become this sort of jobber. And although he was in the Battle Royal earlier in the night and he got down to the last two, I think it's a bit harsh, really. I could actually see Miz going to TNA, I honestly could. Maybe by the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Miz in TNA. Really, really wouldn't. I thought it was a bit of a stupid time slot. I mean, having that match after the world title match. It's just seemed a bit. Anyways, but backstage, of course, we had Christian. He heard Cody Rhodes bad-mouthing him. So Christian says, guess what? I've changed my mind. I'm going after your title instead. So instead of going for the US title, it was Christian versus Cody Rhodes. This, of course, really cemented Christian as a babyface now. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I thought the match itself was alright, Christian won the match with a kill switch to become the new Intercontinental Champion on his return back from injury. I was a bit surprised, actually. I thought Cody might retain, even though I know it was Christian's comeback. I had a feeling maybe Cody would retain, but, Christian's new Intercontinental Champion. And up next is the match me and I think probably just about everyone else was looking forward to the most. That was, of course, CM Punk defended the WWE Championship against Daniel Bryan. I'm a big fan of both these wrestlers. I've seen them both in the indie scenes and all that. I've seen their matches on TV since like 2003 on the old wrestling channel they used to be here. Before the match, CM Punk was doing an interview backstage. AJ, of course, wished CM Punk luck. Punk basically just walks off. And the match, really lived up to the hype. I think it was actually a really good match. Got a decent amount of time. Daniel Bryan, of course, had the yes lock on CM Punk in the middle of the ring for a while, and Punk managed to get out of it. Yeah, they were both reversing each other's moves. Of course, you had Punk doing the elbow drop from the top. Really good match. Very good ending. CM Punk hit the GTS. Daniel Bryan got the 1-2-3, and Punk tapped out. But Punk tapped out around about 1 second after the match had ended. So it's a good ending. It makes Daniel Bryan still look strong, even though he lost. Also, it makes you think maybe at a pay-per-view in the near future, maybe it'll be CM Punk v Daniel Bryan in a submission match, or maybe an Iron Man match. I hope this rivalry continues. It's really, really good to see where they are at the moment. We had the main event, which I really was not looking forward to. I think everybody knew what was going to happen in this match. It was so predictable. Every single WWE fan watching that event knew what was going to happen. It was just so predictable. It was, of course, John Laurinaitis versus John Cena. There's loads of things I really didn't like about this match. Like, yet again, John Cena trying to be this fucking comedian. This Jim Carrey wannabe. He's like, doing all these faces and all these, cracking all these stupid jokes that aren't even funny. And I'm going to put you in the submission move for 10 seconds. And can you last? Oh, you did. Wow. And sometimes I think, am I the only person who doesn't find this funny? And the thing that made it worse was you had Jerry Lawler and Booker T fucking laughing themselves their heads off, sort of saying, "Oh, Cena's so funny." And then, Michael Cole saying, "John Cena, he's one of the greatest of all time." That was a really bad Michael Cole impression, by the way. But, really, it was actually really painful to watch that main event, I mean, that's the main event over the WWE title between CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. Yeah, okay. Anyways, Cena, he dominated the match for most of it, as I predicted. Then Laurinaitis coming to it a little bit at the end. He worked on the bad arm of Cena. And predictably, Big Show came in throughout the crowd. I think everyone knew it was either going to be Big Show or Brock Lesnar. Some people even say Batista, but I don't actually think he'll come back to WWE anytime soon. Show come out. Originally, it looked like he was going to attack Laurinaitis. Let's face it, we all know he wouldn't. He threw Laurinaitis into Cena, and then Big Show hit the weapon of mass destruction on Cena, knocking him out, and Laurinaitis got the 1-2-3. It was obvious because, as we know, any WWE superstar who interferes in the match will be terminated. Of course, Big Show isn't a WWE superstar now because Laurinaitis fired him on Raw. So this obviously, maybe tonight on Raw, John Laurinaitis is going to reinstate Big Show, and Show's going to become his personal bodyguard, or sweet turning heel. Anyways, that's my review of Over the Limit. As I said, I really didn't enjoy it at all, actually. The exception of the WWE title match, and I think the World Heavyweight title match was pretty decent as well. But other than that, I didn't really like it. I don't like this old John Cena shoving him down our fucking throats and making him out to be this funny person when he's actually a little bitch. Anyway, that's my view. Do you agree or disagree with me? What's your thoughts on the event? And thank you very much for listening. Yes, I am a John Cena hater.